yourself for the infusion of positive energy into the lives of single Latter-day Saints everywhere. This is Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps, to another wonderful, splendiferous, joyous episode of Joy in the Journey Radio. I'm Lance, your host for Joy in the Journey Radio. And so kind of get set up in the new digs here. Let's adjust that camera a little bit. Oh, yeah, here we go. Adjust that camera a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like, okay, so here we go. So welcome again to another episode of Joy in the Journey Radio. This is episode number 333. And today, we're going to, using that 4 aspect of life model that we've been using here on the program. We've got the spirit, the heart, the mind, and the body. It's time for us to pay attention to the heart. And so it's sort of like a social thing. I've organized, occasionally these film watch parties. And the last one we had was Groundhog Day. And, the technology was just not cooperating. So the video came in really choppy, and I've been working with the tech guys to figure out, okay, how do we prevent that? Because that's just obnoxious, right? So hopefully, I got both my fingers crossed. We've got some of that problem fixed, and we won't have a problem today, because today now, the film I chose to watch for today is a lot shorter. Last time we had Groundhog Day, which is, feature-length film. This film we're going to watch today is much shorter, but it's no less classic. In fact, I would argue it's even more classic in LDS circles than Groundhog Day. And the film that I'm talking about is The Phone Call. If you've never seen The Phone Call, just thinking about it, it just kind of, makes me laugh. And it's one of those films. It's what I call the Napoleon Dynamite effect. You watch it the first time, you're like, this is really cheesy and kind of dumb. But okay, first of all, it's 1977. And second, it's coming out of that Provo school. So, what do you expect, right? You put those two together, what do you expect to come out? But just like Napoleon Dynamite, the first time you watch it, you think it's kind of dumb, and then you watch it again, and then something clicks like inside your head, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the most awesome thing ever. So, yeah, we're gonna watch The Phone Call today. Now, before we get into the film, I got a couple things I want to share with you. First, after the film, we're going to start incorporating what I wanted to incorporate all along, but because nobody was commenting, I invite people to come on the program. Everyone I've asked says no. So it's hard to have discussions. But, I saw that there was someone who made some comments to the episode that I posted last week. And they were made through YouTube, which, okay, that's fine. And so but the comments are kind of weird. And so I thought, since nobody's actually commenting in the show, which you actually can do, you watch the live broadcast there on the Join the Journey Radio website. You can join in the program and actually make comments during the live broadcast, and we'll respond to them. That there's a portion at the end of the program assigned for that, but because nobody has been commenting, then it's just like, well, okay, so there's nothing to respond to. But I have a couple of comments that somebody made, and I don't know if this is from an actual human being or from some sort of bot. We're here in 2024. The birth of the AI. Everyone's, pushing forward with this, even though, films like The Terminator said this was a very, very bad idea. But yeah, I don't know what to think of this. Is this coming from a human being or coming from an actual person? So after the film, stick around, and we're gonna dig into that, as well as the response that I have for the comments that were made. Which my first initial, we'll get to that after the film. So now, to set the stage for the film, this is the other thing I wanted to share with you. set the stage for the film, I wanted to share with you an experience I had when I was, um, I think I was still an undergraduate at the time. I was attending a student ward, and um, we were in elders quorum, and elders quorum president gets up to start the lesson for the meeting, and he goes in to say how he was talked to by the bishop, and because the bishop was talked to by the stake presidency, and he was supposed to give some sort of spiel about how, since we're all single, we need to focus on finding a wife, getting married, and all that dating stuff. And then he remarked. So after sharing that with us, he remarks, so I thought about how I could get the point across as pleasantly as possible, because we all know what the dating scene is like here in the ward. It's like almost non-existent. So I thought, what could we actually do to comply with the wishes of the stake presidency and talk to you about marriage, while at the same time not making it this, dry, boring thing that goes in one ear and out the other. So he said, so today we're going to watch The Phone Call. And that's what we did during Elders Quorum meeting. We watched The Phone Call. And I was like, dude, you're the best Elders Quorum president ever. We're watching The Phone Call. So yeah, let's cue this up and dig into this. So let's see if we can start this up. The Phone Call. Oh gosh, I got the. Hang on, I gotta go get the lights.
Hello, Pam. This is Scott. How would you like to go to the movies with me Saturday night?
Your money is safe at State Savings. Time 9:41. Temperature 82 degrees.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, he's so freaked out, right? But I mean, what he's experiencing here is something that all guys experience, right? There's something about the male version DNA.
Hello?
Oh, now he's actually, see, look, he's like a deer in the headlights look. It's classic. Oh no, what happened? Okay. Got a little iffy there on the screen, but he's got the paper out. You know what he's doing? He's just kind of tossing everything around. No, let me just go ahead and let me stop the film here, because what I was saying before about how all guys initially do that, and there's something about I don't know, there's something about the male side of the species that just doesn't, it just kind of freezes up like that naturally. Now, clearly this is someone who is lacking in experience, and more importantly, lacking in confidence, right? So confidence is such a turn on they're just naturally attuned, right? I mean, women are naturally attuned to pay attention to confidence. It catches their attention, right? I guess the equivalent on the male side would be if, a woman were to bare her chest or, show up naked. I mean, and all the guys just naturally, just because that's what testosterone does. Well, there's something about estrogen that responds naturally to confidence. And this guy clearly lacks it, because you saw it in the initial part of the film. He clearly lacking confidence. So let's keep watching. He's gonna try and do something with that. So here he is at his dream girl's house. He makes a special effort to put the paper just so. So now he's gonna learn karate.
Do you lack confidence? Does the sun set in the west?
Yep.
Hey, Becky, I'm going to the bank. Show this new kid the ropes before we get too busy, okay?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, now you try it.
So here he is. He actually, it is not really explained very well in the film. It's not explained very well in the film here, but he's lacking confidence. So he wanted to order this, teach yourself at home karate course. And he didn't have any money for it because the paper route's not enough. So he has to, go to the local burger joint and get a job flipping burgers so he can make some more money so he can buy this course, learn karate, and then gain confidence from learning the karate. It's not really explained very well here in the film. So I just thought I would just chime that in and share it. So here we go.
Nothing to it.
He's got a mess to clean up. Oops.
That would make a great chocolate malt. But I think you used a little too much chocolate.
I'm trying.
You certainly are.
Now, whoa, back it up a little bit. Did you see the sign on that? Can I rewind this? I don't know. Can I rewind a little bit? Let's try rewinding. Oh, yeah, we can rewind a little bit. Now, watch the sign here. I will stop it again when it gets to this sign.
Nothing to it.
Because I thought I saw something, and I was just like, you gotta be kidding me.
That would make a great chocolate malt. But I think you used a little too much chocolate.
I'm trying.
You certainly are.
Okay, it's not. Ah, we missed it because the tech didn't come through. Anyway, I thought the sign said triple burger for 89 cents. And I know it's 1977 and we're dealing with some major inflation here in 2024, but wow, what do you agree? I mean, because triple burger is 89 cents. Imagine what a double burger, a single burger is, which, I mean, these days I wouldn't go anywhere near eating triple burger because it's just way, way too much. But, a triple burger is like 89 cents. A single burger should be somewhere around, 39, 49 cents? 2 quarters will get you a burger? Wow. I mean, can we get back to that somehow? How do I get back to that somehow? I'm tired of my wallet being raped every time I go to the grocery store or go out to eat. I actually did go out to eat last night. I had just a one patty single hamburger, had cheese on it. But then I got, some fries and a shake with it. Cost me $20. I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Inflation. Thank you, inflation. So yeah, if we can get back to these halcyon days, fantastic. I think he's going to get the order right. He can't even make a milkshake right.
Could you put down separate checks, please?
Yeah, we'll put down separate checks. Okay, it's freezing up every now and then, but they're not doing anything like what we were seeing with Groundhog Day. So, maybe the tech guys came through for me a little bit. You like carbon with your beef?
Hey, what's it really like it here?
Should be home practicing on my bassoon.
What?
It's bassoon. It's like a balloon with S's. It's an
I
instrument.
love the way he describes things. It's like a balloon.
Think
The
Mr.
suit
Springer
is
will
like a
fire me?
balloon with S.
Mr. Beamer. He only yells like that when he's mad. I guess no one ever tried making French fried hot dog buns before.
Yeah, well, I know I can pick all this up. The first few days are always tough.
Why did you take this job anyway?
I need money. Paper route wasn't enough.
For what?
I'm gonna take a karate course.
Okay, so
Gotta
obviously
build up
it's
my
been a while
confidence.
since I watched this film because here
Gotta
they're explaining what I explained
call up this
before.
girl.
So
Hey, maybe I was a little hard on you. I'd hate to see you lose your job. Think it's easier.
Hey, come on, move it.
Gotta go.
the jerk with the hot rod
Fun
car,
playing your balloon.
and of course
Yeah, it's a
the woman's
balloon.
going after
Come
the
on,
jerk.
move it. I haven't got all day. Let's go. I'm in a hurry. Hey, thanks.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Tell Becky Joe's here.
this guy Joe is a real jerk. Seriously, it's like
I can hear.
now. I'm going to just stop
be the
here
next-
because I just want to make a comment to all of the single sisters out there. It's like I know we talk a lot about, here on the Join the Journey radio program, we talk a lot about, being open-minded when you're dating and, taking, trying to get as many deal breakers off your list as possible. So it opens up your field of possibilities, increases your probability of success. Yeah, we talk a lot about that. And I want to say something right here because Joe is a jerk, right? And so if you ladies out there, I mean, you shouldn't be open-minded when it comes to jerks. If somebody is actually treating you like Joe is treating Becky, you should drop that guy so fast. And it's totally legitimate. I think it's totally legitimate that you do this. You should, I mean, being open-minded and being willing to open yourself to possibilities does not mean that you have to open yourself up to abuse. There go the lights again. Okay, gosh. These lights are fixed emotion sensors, so man, I need to just get more animated every so often so the lights won't come out on me. When I actually get, like, I'm actually working on getting like actual studio digs set up. So, just hang on for that and we can get rid of a lot of these issues. Anywho, if a guy's being a jerk, right, you should not open yourself. I mean, being open to possibilities does not mean you have to open yourself up to abuse. You have every right to advocate for yourself, for your sanity, for your health. And that's health in every aspect because every aspect is interconnected with every other aspect, right? So you have a right to stand up and say, no, I'm worth more than that. I'm not going to take that, and just to walk away, right? You have every right to do that. So now, obviously the star of the show pictured here, he's not going to treat a woman that way. So even though he looks a little goofy and dorky, and he acts that part pretty well, I'd say, hey, you know what? He's a potential candidate. He's a potential candidate. Now, of course, the first hurdle that everyone needs to clear is this a person who's going to make and keep sacred covenants? And the best way you answer that question is by looking at what they've actually done in the past. What have they done in the past that provides evidence that they want to make a sacred covenant and that they're keeping the ones they've already made? Right? So I mean, this is what you've done. And of course, the second one, because we're not interchangeable parts, right? So there's got to be some key hurdle that, provides for some sense of compatibility. And that second hurdle, like we talked about last week, that second hurdle is going to be looking at, okay, is this someone who's going to take me where I want to go? So the man is asking the question a little differently. The man's asking the question, is this a woman who's going to help me get where I want to take my life? And the woman's asking, is this man headed in somewhere where I want to go? Related questions, but, variation on a theme, depending on if you're a man or a woman. And that's the second big question. And if you can answer positively to both of those questions, then I say you be open-minded and just find out more about the person. Find out more about the person and be willing to delve in deeper, Of course, you go from the initial stage of the dating journey, which is friendship, a good place to be, by the way, the so-called friend zone, good place to be. And you move to casual dating, not exclusive dating, because that's the next stage after. You got to go through casual dating first. Although you don't really have to. I mean, you could skip the step if you get the agreement for exclusive dating. You could just skip that stage, but I don't recommend it, right? I recommend taking your time, finding out more about the person before you go steady with somebody. But yeah, so here's here we see the response to Joe the jerk, who, by the way, Becky has every right to walk away from and should walk away from. She doesn't until we'll watch the film. You'll see.
To blaze the balloons.
Bassoon.
Takes all kinds.
What's your favorite malt?
Butterscotch, why?
I'll make you one without spilling one drop on the floor.
Thanks, I'm not in the mood.
If I had my bassoon here, I'd play you something happy.
Hey, don't worry about me, that's nothing new. Joe's a little hard to understand. Guess I've seen too many movies.
Now, see what she's doing. Did you see what she just did? She's making excuses. She's excusing the abusive behavior. That is a definite no-no. Do not do that. Why is she doing this? Well, again, this goes back to the way women naturally think. And it's all based on emotional logic. Now, I know what some of you guys out there are saying, right? Because I use the word woman thinking and logic in the same sentence. So you're all confused already. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. Women are not logical in the way they think. And I'm telling you, they are very logical in the way they think. They just have a different base for their logic. Whereas men are naturally hardwired to think in terms of intellectual logic. Women are naturally hardwired to think in terms of emotional logic. Now, this doesn't mean that a man can't think with his heart and a woman can't think with her brain. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's plenty of evidence for all of that. And you just have to look around, and you don't have to look very far to find it. Okay. What I'm saying is I'm talking about the way that they're naturally hardwired, the way that comes naturally to them. It's easiest for them. Doesn't mean they can't do it the other way. It just means that this is just the way that it comes easiest for them. So when you're talking about a woman, right? Emotional logic says if it makes you feel good, you accept it. And if it makes you feel bad, you reject it. Just like with intellectual logic, if it doesn't make sense, you reject it. But if it does make sense, you accept it. Well, what's going on with Becky and Joe, right? Becky's with Joe because Joe actually, despite being a jerk, sometimes actually makes her feel what she wants to feel. And that's why she's with him. Because sometimes he makes her feel the way she wants to feel. And so she's justifying this in her mind with these excuses. I have to put up with this abuse in order to have these opportune moments to feel what I want to feel. That's what's going on here. And, what I would say to that is you're all screwed up. You're just all screwed up. You need to just take a step back and say you have a better chance of feeling what you want to feel more often if you're not with a jerk. And it's far better to not have anybody than to have somebody who is a jerk. Because there are ways that you can have joy in your journey and to feel good feelings while you're single. You're not like actually with anybody. Like you're just in like the friendship stage of the dating journey. at the very start, and it's possible for you to feel joy there. So, my response is going to be, don't put up with abuse. There's no excuse for it. If somebody abuses you, and, it's one thing to say, okay, I give somebody an opportunity to repent and change. But if, you're with somebody and, that somebody is got, time after time after time, and is developing this, trend of, okay, I'm going to keep abusing you and I'm not changing. That to me is a real red flag and total legitimate reason to get out of that relationship. Drop it. Just drop it so fast and don't even look back, because there are opportunities for you to feel what you want to feel without the abuse. So I just wanted to chime in and put in a little public service announcement.
Yeah, I thought romance was supposed to be romantic.
What a question, right?
Sure
Romance is
was.
supposed to be romantic.
Becky, can I walk you home?
I think that it's kind of like a cheesy thing. Oh, onion rings, 59 cents. Can we go back to the halcyon days when things were like super affordable? I hate inflation. So, yeah, it's like romance is supposed to be romantic. I mean, what an obvious question. And yet so many of us are not stepping back. We're so caught up in trying to be in a relationship for whatever reason that we're willing to take a bad relationship so that we're just not like completely single. And I just think that's just the wrong way to be thinking about things. It's like, if it should be working for you. And if it's not working for you, find something else. And it's okay for you to be single. If something's not working for you, it's okay to go back to being completely single and, just go back to basics, go back to the fundamentals and trust the process. But too many of us, we're not even aware of the fundamentals, right? Let alone like trying to live the fundamentals. We don't even know what the fundamentals are. And that's part of what we do here on the program, is talk about those fundamentals. So yeah, let's dig back in the movie. God, this 59-cent onion ring make me hungry.
Long walk.
I have long feet.
I have long feet.
Okay, come on.
I love that response.
You're not very talkative today. Scott, what's the
It's
matter?
freezing up.
Becky, what's wrong with me?
Nothing.
Come on, be honest.
Okay, so notice the conversation. Notice how it's going here. He thinks there's something wrong with him. And of course, in the man's world, because, he's naturally tuned to think with intellectual logic, the reasoning here is going to be, I'm not progressing as I want to progress in my dating journey, and therefore there must be something wrong with me. I think that may be half true, right? I think that may be half true. We go back to the fundamentals, right? It's like if you're not progressing in your dating journey, it's because you don't have the agreement you need to progress. Each stage of the dating journey has an agreement connected to it. And in order to progress to any stage in the dating journey, you have to have the agreement connected with that stage. This is a fundamental principle of the dating journey. So if you don't have the agreement you need to progress to a certain stage, you don't progress to that stage. It's not rocket science. It's not hard. Many of us intuitively understand the fundamental principle, but we don't express it. We're not explicit with it. We don't focus and align our thinking with that fundamental principle. And that's one of the reasons why so many of our dating journeys are just not what they should be, because we're not focused explicitly in fundamentals. So it's good to voice this out, be explicit about it, so we can gain the awareness we need to be intentional and say, yeah, okay, I got to be intentional with this. So if you don't have the agreement, it's usually because you're not agreeable enough. Okay. So there's two things you could do with that. And this is why I say it's like he may be half right? Because on the one side, it may be that you need to make changes in you. And in fact, a lot of us singles really do need to make changes in ourselves and become better people, so that we're actually offering something more to the other party and thereby becoming more agreeable. So, he's right on that score. But then there's the other part, which is, if you're not agreeable to one person, well, that doesn't mean you're not going to be agreeable to all people, right? Because different people find different offerings, different levels of presentation agreeable. So, presenting something to one person, that person might say, no way, but there may be another person who says, yeah, that's actually something we want to get into. Okay. So, it may just be that what you need to do is to find another person to present the possibility of the agreement to. And, he's half right. It may be him, but, maybe he just needs to, quit dreaming about his dream girl and find someone who will actually say yes to him. I mean, because there's two ways to go about it. So, and I don't think any way is better than the other. I think this is a matter of personal choice and agency, and you just got to choose for yourself. And I don't think one path is better than the other. You just got to figure out which path you think is better for you. Because it's your life. You got to live with it, right?
I can take it.
Nothing's wrong with you, except maybe burning grilled cheese sandwiches all the time.
Yeah. So notice what she's saying here, right? I kind of wonder if they're talking about the same thing, right? Like he knows what he's talking about, right? And I'm a guy, so I get what he's talking about. He's talking about his progress in the dating journey. She's looking at him and saying, what's wrong with me? So I think she's thinking about it from a different angle. She, I think, is thinking about this from the aspect of, well, as a person, you're a good person. There's nothing wrong with you. She's not thinking of him as a potential dating candidate, because everyone's pretty much got more or less the same standard for being a good person, but not necessarily the same standard. In fact, different people have very different standards for what makes a good dating candidate. So, being a good person has nothing to do with, how it makes her feel. So, she's not thinking about it from that standpoint.
Isn't that I only weigh 26,000 grams?
Grams?
They sound bigger in the metric system.
We use the metric system.
No.
I love some of his lines. They're cheesy, but it's just great.
But I plan on forming a rock group. I'm going to have an electronic bazoo.
Electronic bassoon.
I haven't figured out the details yet.
Just haven't figured out the details yet.
Why can't I get a date?
Beats me. Do you try to get dates?
Okay, so now he's getting to the switch, because now he's just kind of like beating around the bush. Now he's being very direct and explicit. This is good communication practice, okay? And not just for men, for women too. Because again, women naturally attuned to thinking with emotion. So, there's this tendency among women not to be as explicit in what they say, because it just feels. You just feel it, right? You should just know through the way you feel. You be attuned to somebody's feelings, and that's how you know what they mean. And men, of course, aren't like that, because again, men naturally think with intellectual logic, no feeling involved. And so, you have to be explicit, especially when you're talking to a guy. So, when he's trying to get help, he needs to be explicit as well, so that we just need to be more explicit in our communications. Okay. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Actually, no. But I phoned Pam once.
What'd she say?
Oh, hello.
That's all.
So I said, do you try to get dates? I mean, that's a good question. It's like, are you trying? Are you making the effort? I think, there's a sizable proportion of us who aren't progressing in our dating journey because we're not being intentional with it. We're just hoping that it magically, the person magically comes into our lives and, everything just sort of happens. And that's not real life, peeps. That's not real life. You have to be intentional. In fact, the real joy in the journey, that even if you fail, so to speak, in trying to get what you want, you can still have joy in that process by being intentional. You be intentional with what you're trying to do, focusing on the fundamentals of the dating journey. Right. So again, and Becky here is kind of keyed in on that, because again, she's asking him some pretty important questions. I think would be well to ask ourselves. So yeah. So okay. So he did talk about the effort that he's making, and it's like she said hello, and then he got scared and hung up, and that's where we're at.
I'd rather not go into it.
Hey, maybe you just need a little practice.
Practice?
Listen, why don't you call me tonight? Just for practice.
Okay. I'll call you tonight.
Now, notice what she said. She was very explicit. For practice. Don't get any, don't get any ideas in your head that, we're going to be going out on a date, which again, going back, just like you keeping Joe the jerk, this guy much better suited, but we all make choices.
Hello?
Hello, Becky. This is Scott.
Hello, Scott.
Hello, Becky.
Scott, are you still there?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you ask me something?
Becky. What does a girl look for in a guy?
Well, that's hard to say, Scott. It depends on the girl.
Well, what do you...
Now that is a piece of wisdom right there. That's a piece of wisdom right there. It's like, what does a girl look for? Well, it depends on the girl. Why does it depend on the girl? Because it goes back to the way that women are naturally attuned to think with emotion. So, what makes one woman feel a certain way could produce a completely different emotion in a different woman. And so, even with the same woman, making a presentation at one time, I make her feel one way, but make that same presentation to the same woman at a different time, it'll make her feel something different. It's all about the feeling. Again, if it feels good, this is emotional logic. If it feels good, you accept it. If it doesn't feel good, you reject it. So you present to one woman and it makes her feel good, okay? Because she's processing it through the lens of, her perspective, her background, the context of, her lived experience, which is going to be different than some other woman. And that's why I said earlier, it's like, if, you're not being agreeable enough with the people you're asking out, then you have two options. One option is to make changes in you so you become agreeable to those people. And the other option is find other people to whom you are agreeable enough as you are. Maybe the best route to take is do a little bit of both, right? Because you don't know how this is going to play out. Just try to do a little bit of both. That'll really up your probability of success because you're getting it from both sides. So yeah, I mean, what she said here, pearls of wisdom, it does depend on the woman, but that's why it depends on the woman. So we all understand that it depends, but I don't think all of us are very clear on the explicit reasons why. And I just explained it to you. So hopefully that helped you.
Do you like somebody who treats you rotten like Joe?
You don't like him very much, do you?
What do I know? He's the success, not me.
Okay, so this is interesting. So look at what happened here, right? So he brings up the fact that Joe's a jerk, abusing her, and she shouldn't have none of it, right? And she shied away from that. Why did she shy away from that? Because that's a confrontational conversation. Confrontation typically doesn't feel good, and with emotional logic, if it doesn't feel good, you reject it. That's why she just shied away from that. She's like, I don't want to deal with that because that's going to make me feel bad. And so emotional logic says, push that away. I don't want anything to do with it.
Maybe it's something I should try. Okay, let's say I came home from work to your house.
Look at her.
I
Look
sat on
at
the
her.
front of the
She's
TV,
not enjoying this
and I
at
had something
all.
cold to drink, and I turned on the game. Okay, you say something to me.
How's the game?
Don't bother me when I'm watching the game. Can't you let me have 5 minutes in peace? Kind of sounded just like Joe, huh?
I don't like it.
Well, that's what Joe does to you.
Is it?
Yeah. You would never do a dumb thing like Miriam, would you? I mean, you're not serious.
I don't know.
I bet she treats you the
No,
same way after
here's
you
the
were
thing. I mean, it's funny, right? It's funny. We laugh at it because there's a kernel of truth in it. You know, in our Latter-day Saint circles, we have this culture that we just want to jump to the end because marriage in the traditional culture is a marker of belonging, and we all want to belong. It's just something we all have as human beings. It's one of our innate needs that we want to belong. We want to fit in to the larger group. And you know, within the Latter-day Saint culture, the way you fit in, you know, one of those markers of belonging is you're married with kids. And this is one of the challenges that we have as Latter-day Saint singles. And I think the culture is changing to where that's not so much a marker of belonging, which I think that's actually a good thing. But there's still remnants of it. There's still remnants of it in the way that we think, especially as we approach in our approach to like dating and whatnot, because we want to jump to the end, right? We want to put the cart before the horse, right? So here he is, just who knows what stage of the journey that they're on. But you know, we no matter what stage we're in, we have that tendency to want to jump to the end. And I think you just need to just be in the place where you are and just trust the process and let the process do its work. Because, you know, you move on. Hopefully you're not going to go backwards, right? So enjoy the moment that you're in, you know, so that, you know, if it turns out that you don't go backwards, then, you know, you can say, yeah, I actually enjoyed myself as I was in that journey. So yeah, let's again take time with everything. Let's not jump to any, you know, conclusions. Be in the place where you are. There's more joy to be found in life when you're actually present in the place where you actually are.
married. I never treat you that way, though.
How would you treat me?
I treat you special.
Scott, look, I think we better hang up now.
Yeah, she doesn't want anything to do with the conversation because it doesn't make her feel good. Look how fast she put that phone down, right? This is how fast she needs to drop Joe the jerk. Seriously, the you know, the quickness with which she put down that phone receiver, that's what she needs to do. The same rate minimum of getting rid of Joe and just, you know, advocating for herself.
You never say anything right. You're mad at me, aren't you?
No, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I said anything to hurt your feelings last night about you and Joe.
Hey, maybe I needed to hear it.
Yeah, I think you're great, Becky.
Yeah, well, I think you're nice.
Looks like that
I
choppiness
wish
is
I
still
were.
here.
I feel like your friendly neighborhood zero.
Well, you're not. You've just told yourself that so many times, you're starting to believe it.
If I met
Now that's something that's something that we need to actually talk about right there, right? Another pearl of wisdom from the woman. This whole idea of self-talk, you know, 95% of the way you feel is going to be determined by the messages that you're giving yourself. And that the collection of those messages is what we call self-talk. We all do it, right? We all give messages to ourselves. It's embedded in the way we think. And this is why, you know, we always go back to like, it's all about what's going up here, peeps, and the way that you think. Because if you clear this up in your head, half your problems go away. If you start giving yourself messages that will actually breed confidence, that actually, you know, help you to emanate a more positive energy, then you're going to have a lot more success than if you keep telling yourself that you're a loser, a zero, that, nobody's going to want to be with you. All of the berating messages that you just breed this negative energy. And that we shoot ourselves in the foot when we do that. We are oftentimes our own worst enemy. And if we could just get out of our own way, we'd have a lot more success. And one of the ways that we can get out of our own way is by being intentional with the self-talk that we provide. So if you're, this is the tricky part about it, right? Because it's habitual. These messages that we give to ourselves are done out of habit. We have self-talk habits that are ingrained in us. So if you have, negative messages constantly playing to you over and over again, then you've got a negative habit, and you've got to replace that with a positive habit where you're giving yourself positive messages to reinforce, a more hopeful view of the future. You'd be amazed how much more hopeful you can feel if you just take, that self-talk, which I think, what's the percentage? Someone calculated it to be like, I think 87% of the messages we feed ourselves are negative. So we got to replace this negative habit with a positive habit. Again, clear everything up here in your head, get your thinking right, and half your problems go away. Seriously. And I can say that because I've lived it, and I am living it.
In football, then I'd be somebody. Then Pam would go out with me.
You're somebody now. I think you're the most decent guy I've ever met.
I think so.
You're somebody now. What a brilliant, powerful message. You're somebody now. If you got some negative self-talk, maybe that's the message you should be repeating to yourself. Every time you say you're nobody, it's like, no, you are somebody now, right? Now, maybe you need to make some changes in yourself and the way you present yourself so that other people can see it more clearly. But no, you're somebody now. You're somebody now.
No, not me. If I was just better at talking to people, like my dad, he talks to everybody. He just walks right up and starts talking to them, even gas station attendants. And by the time the gas tank's filled, they're old friends.
You can learn to talk to the customers.
Why not? Here you go.
Thanks.
How are things in California?
Oh, this is
Are the
great.
oranges doing well?
What?
The oranges in California. How they doing?
Who are the oranges?
I guess if we haven't
oranges?
heard anything, I guess we can assume they're doing okay, and we'll have a good crop of oranges next year. Wouldn't you say?
They're laughing at him because they're like, this guy's such a putz.
I see you're driving a Volkswagen. Do you get good gas mileage?
Gas mileage? I don't know, really.
You don't know? I think that's funny. You buy a small car so you can get good gas mileage, and you don't know what gas mileage you're getting. I think that's funny. Don't you think that's funny?
Yeah, they think that you're funny. Oh gosh, look at this! Oh, we missed it. We missed it. They're walking away.
They forgot their change.
Forgot their change. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I just got to work with these technical problems because we totally missed the scene where they turn around and walk away. And you could look at the look on their faces as they turn around and walk away. They're laughing at this guy, right? They're like, oh yeah, right. Like, because you're trying to make some sort of connection with us. It's like we don't want that, right? Because again, the way he's presenting himself does not make them feel the way they want to feel. And so that's why they just laugh at the guy. They're like, oh, yeah, you think you're going to make some connection with us. Haha, yeah, it's really funny because you're not making us feel the way we want to feel. They understand that intuitively. He doesn't. He's like most guys, right? Which is why we talk about this sort of stuff here on the program. We're going to try to help people out.
You know what I mean? I never say the right thing. That's why I'm afraid to call Pam.
Hey, maybe after work, if you want, I'll help you phone her.
Now, here's something nice, right? It's like, so she feels bad for him. Of course, emotional logic, feel bad, you want to reject it. So just letting him be, we're going to reject that idea. And we're actually going to be helpful, be nice, and say, hey, you know what? Why don't you call her and I can like coach you through on what to say. Fantastic idea. I'm sure a lot of us guys out there is like, yeah, I wish some lady would do that for me. Hey, so all you single wards out there, if you Relief Society sisters looking for a service project, here you go. You can follow suit right here.
Really?
If you promise me one thing, don't talk to any more customers.
It's a deal.
What's wrong?
My voice.
God, don't worry.
Wait a minute. Wait, I need some practice. Wait. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Pam, this is Scott. Your paper boy? Oh, really? Oh, tell your father I've really been trying not to throw it up on the roof anymore.
Tell your father we're trying not to throw it up on the roof, which we actually saw that earlier, right? He stopped his bike and he aimed and he's really careful as opposed to like the other papers. He just kind of throws it and lands wherever, right? He's actually trying with that house.
Oh, no trouble. No trouble. Goodbye. Maybe.
Now, this is interesting. It's like he brought her along to help coach him through what to say. She didn't give any input. He just ran with whatever and just went through it, right? But I think just having that potential safety net there, you can see that conversation went a lot better than the one he had before, which is she says hello, and he gets a deer in the headlights look and then hangs up the phone. So, granted, not the success that he probably wanted, but moving in the right direction. And that is something that is so key that we need to tell ourselves. And we also need to recognize that in other people, especially when we're looking at other people to date. Direction is so much more important than position. We tend to judge based on position so often, and very often that's going to lead us to faulty conclusions, because what really matters in the end is where we're going, not where we are. You could be in a bad place, but if you've got a good direction, eventually if you keep that good direction, eventually you're going to end up in a good place. So, it could go the other way too. You could be in a good place now, but if you don't have a good direction, you're not going to stay in that good place. You're going to go into a bad place. So we really do need to be focused on direction and not position, especially in the way that we assess potential dating candidates. Look at where they're going. Look at what they're doing with their lives. Look at what they're making, what they're producing, and focus less on, well, this person has X, Y, Z. Focus on, direction, not position.
I'll call her a couple times to break the ice. Oh, boy.
Oh, yes, it came. It arrived. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
Hey, baby! Hey, wow, look at that!
More
Doesn't
jerks.
that make you mad?
Maybe I've gotten used to it.
Yeah, that's something you shouldn't get used to.
Becky,
Again, stand up for yourself and
You know I
advocate.
play the bassoon.
Yeah,
And that doesn't matter to you, we're still friends?
sure.
Well, I'm in an orchestra. We play classical music.
That's nice. Someone
That's great. We play classical music. What else are you going to play in an orchestra? Oh, it's great.
How to play it?
Really? Well, next Thursday night, the Orchestra Society's having a dinner and a dance at the hotel ballroom. And I was wondering, there'll be a lot of really old guys there,
Here it
but
is,
there'll
here
be a
it
lot
is.
of really young guys, too, your age. The brass section. Will you go with me? It's a free dinner.
Oh, well, Scott, I'd like to, but...
That's great. You know, we used to...
This is great. Now, this is a classic maneuver right here. It's like once you get any semblance of acceptance, cut that off, take that and run with it. Cut off any further communication. You're going to grab it and you're going to go with that, baby. You run with that. Like what he does is great. Because we all know she was going to say, I'd like to, but she's going to find something else. Because again, you know, she's not looking at him as the sort of the date material because he's goofy. It doesn't make her feel what she wants to feel, right? Not the way Joe the jerk does. So, no tingles with this guy, but, Joe gives her plenty of tingles and she's got to put up with the abuse to get the tingles. So anyway, I love it. He's just, you can tell he's just right on the edge of his confidence as he's extending that invitation, which of course is not the best way to present that. You want to be confident when you present, right? Because again, women just naturally attracted to that confidence. And so you want to be confident when you extend that invitation. He obviously he's, in the early stages of gaining experience, so he doesn't have a lot of that confidence, but he's got more than he did before, right? And something else he's doing. Notice how he's asking out Becky. He was trying to phone Pam because, he's the dream girl for this guy. But he's not asking her. He's not asking the dream girl. He's asking this woman. And I think there's something to be said here with his approach. He may look like a dork, but he's actually kind of smart. He may not realize it. He's actually kind of smart with the way he's approaching this, right? If you like, he wants to get practice. So he's practicing with somebody who doesn't mean as much in the romantic sense to him, right? Because this guy and Becky, they're just friends, right? So if she turns him down, which she was about to do before he cut her off, another, really decisive strategic move on this guy. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, but he actually is playing this really smart. So anyway, he, cutting that off and just taking that and run with it, he's being really smart with that. And, if he were actually like to let her finish her sentence and, to learn that she didn't really want to accept that invitation, she's really rejecting it. It's okay because they're just friends, right? So it's like, you're not the one I really wanted anyway. The one I really wanted is the dream girl. I wanted Pam. I didn't want you, Becky, which of course he's not actually saying that because that's not going to make anyone feel good anyway. So yeah, it's good he's not vocalizing that. Anyway, it just the master play right here. I don't think he realizes what a master he's being in this moment.
All this time together, we really never sat down and ate together.
What about Joe?
I'm not afraid of Joe.
Well, it is his night to bowl. So what are you going to say?
Don't worry. I've got it all figured out. A little light conversation to put her at ease. And then, I'll casually ask if she wants to go to the movies with me.
Okay, so he just asked out Becky, and now he's still going after Pam. This is called playing the field, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially if you're like in these early stages of the dating journey, which he clearly is, right? If you're in an exclusive dating stage, then obviously you don't want to be playing any field. You just want to be playing one instrument and not, the whole field. But, before you get to that point, if you're in the friendship stage or even the casual dating stage, right? Again, we have this tendency to want to push too much to the end, and we're not enjoying the place where we are. And I think it's very healthy for us to do what he's doing right here. Play the field. That's a very healthy thing to do, especially if you're in the early stages of the dating journey. Now, if you're in the later stages of the dating journey, it's really not that healthy. It's really not. You need to start narrowing it down, and being more exclusive. But in the early stages, you really want to be non-exclusive. You really want to be playing the field. So nervous that she's got to dial the phone for him. He's got to hyperventilate here before too long. He's only get that guy a bag.
Hello? Is this Pamela Robertson of 1054 Riverside Drive? This is Scott McCorvick of 619 Riverside Drive.
A little light conversation, remember?
Remember a little light conversation? She's coaching him.
Say something.
I saw you spraying your dandelions a few days ago. What kind of weed killer do you use? Oh, no, that's okay. You don't have to go all the way to your garage to find out.
You don't have to go to your garage. I'm just making conversation.
I bet you did a great job, though. I bet you killed off every dandelion in your yard.
Movie. I have to go to the movie.
That's one thing I really like about you, Pam. You're really very thorough. Thank you. I try to be thorough, too.
Yeah, this is a dorky conversation.
Pam,
but let me just stop it here. This is a dorky conversation, but it works. It works. Why? Because it attends to the fundamentals, right? Who knows what's going on with this girl, Pam? I mean, for all we know, all the guys that see her that would actually like to want to go out with her are in the same boat that Scott is in, right? They don't have the confidence, and they're not actually putting themselves out there to actually extend out that invitation. So, from her perspective, she's not getting anything. So the fact that even though this is a dorky conversation, the fact that she's getting some attention from somebody in a positive way, that's got to make her feel good in some sense, right? And so, of course, this is actually working out very well for him because he's putting himself in a situation. Now, she may be in a situation where other guys are actually, extending the invitation, in which case, she gets to pick and choose and say, okay, so which one makes me feel the way I want to feel the most? Or, maybe she's gonna do a little play the field of her own and say, well, okay, I can feel good if I do this guy, but then if I string this guy along, I can feel good and get bonus out of that. I don't know. I've known some women actually do that. So it does happen. Playing the field can go both ways. And again, if you're in the early stages, I don't see anything wrong with that. I really don't. It's only in the later stages that, it becomes problematic.
School. I'm gonna go to college. Yeah, I don't want you to think I was gonna get married right away.
Oh, why did you say that?
Look, I'm putting her at ease.
Yeah, it's like, okay, here's the thing. I mean, you look at the look on her face, right? Look at the look on Becky's face. We know that's so not the thing to say, right? It's like you bring up this idea of marriage. What's that going to make her feel? Right? Automatically, that's going to send the message that you're thinking about her as a one and only. And if she's not reciprocating that idea, which chances are she's not going to, because you're just getting to know each other, there's a bigger chance that she's not going to reciprocate. So, that's not going to make her feel good. And so that's just going to, emotional logic, reject what doesn't feel good. Yeah. And so she understands that intuitively. So she's like, no. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What? Oh, doesn't sound like I'm talking to somebody. That sure is funny. Well, keep it up with your lawn. Goodbye.
Yeah, so he did something really smart right there, right? He bailed. And the reason why bailing was smart in that moment is because the context made it appropriate. He just said something that was told, just like, you quit while you're ahead, right? Everything was going good up to that point, and then you totally bombed it. So then that's the point. You just bail out. It's like, don't even try to save face. Don't even try to resurrect yourself. Just accept that you died. You're 6 feet under, and just let sleeping dogs lie. Just don't even try to save yourself from that. Just stop it and move on. That's the best play you can make. Seriously.
Scott, you didn't ask her.
It didn't come up.
It didn't come
Becky.
up.
What?
Well, that's because you're supposed to bring it up. Okay. So, this is good. He's got that little karate demonstration. Here we go. This is a good part. Check this out. Oh, come on.
Scott, that's fantastic.
Where do those little leaguers get here?
Yeah. And of course, she looks at it. And, ooh, are we cheating?
You haven't forgotten about the dinner dance tonight, have you?
No.
You won't have to bring any money. I'm
No,
gonna
she's
pay
just
for
like,
everything.
no.
I've already
This
called
is
in a
confrontation
reservation for
coming. It
saving
doesn't
2
feel
chickens
good.
for
So,
us.
no, I haven't forgotten about that.
I'm worried Joe's gonna find out.
Yep.
Becky, I'm not afraid of Joe. Besides, you said he bowls on Thursday nights. Hey, how's it going?
It's not.
Oh,
Fire sprinklers went off in the bowling alley last night. They closed it down a couple of days.
whoa. Wow. It's too bad.
That's too bad. Yeah, too bad for you, buddy. Because now there's going to be the confrontation that you thought you were going to avoid. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Hey, kid, Becky says you got a date with her tonight.
Well, it's really not a date. You see, I play in the symphony.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's just say this is a date. This is a date. It's a casual date, right? We got to get clear on our definitions, right? Because again, one of the fundamentals of anything is to be very clear on definitions and what things mean. This thing about, date. What is a date? Let's be clear about this, okay? A date is nothing more than nothing less than an agreement between two people to be at the same place at the same time, doing the same thing together. That's a date, okay? Notice how showing up at a church activity for your ward is not a date, right? Because, you may be there at the same time in the same place doing the same thing, but you didn't have an agreement that you were going to do that together, right? So therefore, just showing up at a church activity is not a date. You have to have that agreement, right? Now, once you have that agreement, okay, then that is the agreement for the casual dating stage. So you by definition going out on a casual date, and in the casual dating stage, the commitment level is low. That's why it's called casual dating, because it's casual. There is no commitment. It's like after the date is over, there's no commitment between the two parties. So, there's nothing here about, like he says, not a date. He's only saying that because this is his way of dealing with confrontation. The fact of the matter is, it is a date, and there shouldn't be any shame around that. right? We should be okay with that. It's like, okay, so there's a date. So what? I mean, it's not like it necessarily leads to anything. It could, but it's not necessary. It's not necessarily leading that way. So, it's just two people going out and doing something together. It's, now it could develop into something more, but it doesn't have to, right? And so I think we need to be very clear with what things are, what they mean, and get that cleared up in our thinking, because that will just change the way we approach things. And I think we'd be a lot more successful with that if we just be more accepting about that. Okay, so what? It's a casual date. Commitment level's low. And, after, the date's done, you go back to the friendship stage. Or at least I hope you're still friends after it's done.
And once a year we have a dinner dance, and I thought it'd be nice for Becky and me.
She's not going.
Joe, you don't own me.
That's true.
You should
You
be
either come out here or I'm coming in after you.
You can see she's uncomfortable with it. Gotta come out here, face the music, look at him peeking from behind the corner.
I should in all fairness warn you, although I may appear to be harmless, I've been trained in the ancient martial arts of the Orient.
You have a choice. Either break your date with Becky or I'm going to break your arm.
If you do that, there'll be a lawsuit, assault and battery.
Break the date.
Why? So you can yell at her and make her feel like 2 cents? She's worth more than that.
Wow.
I'm not going to break your arm. I'm going to break your head.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna break this board with my hand. Don't press your luck, Joe.
Now, here's the thing. Look at this. He's like pushing back on him. I mean, it's kind of spotty here. I got to get the tech stuff worked out better. But
God, are you okay?
yeah, but I'm just going to stop here for a minute. Notice what just happened here, right? This right here explains part of the reason why Becky is with Joe. Even though Joe is a jerk and abuses her, part of the reason why she's with him is just manifested right here. You see how he was walking forward? Like, Scott's putting on this thing about, I know karate, don't push your luck, Joe. And what does Joe do? I mean, he blows it off and he just starts walking in, right? Just walking in. And there's nothing like, hyped up about him. He's giving off this vibe like, this is who I naturally am. That's confidence. That's confidence. And confidence, women just attracted to confidence, like, bugs to a light. That classic scene from A Bug's Life. You've seen that movie. Maybe we should watch that movie sometime for a watch party, right? Don't go towards the light. I can't help it. It's so beautiful. That's what he had. The confidence that he just moves in that direction. And, I think that's why she was with him, because that confidence, what do you think that makes the woman feel? And if the woman is using emotional logic to make her decisions, confidence is going to make her feel a whole lot of good things. A whole lot of good things come out of confidence. So, they're just attracted to it. Just get confidence, my brethren, get confidence.
Come on.
And she's like, no. She's finally standing up for herself.
I think I scared him.
No. She didn't have I gotta stop this again. Notice she didn't have any sort of set. She didn't have anything to say, right? She just looked at him and said everything she needed to say with the way she looked at him. Her eyes, man, her eyes did all the talking, not her mouth, her eyes. And she stood up for herself. And I say, congrats. Congratulations. You've done yourself an incredible favor right here. I mean, I feel like it in the moment, but you have.
Hey, Scott, why don't you come on in and dance with us? We haven't got dates.
One of the things we got wrong in the
You guys go
70s.
ahead.
So
I'm
glad to
waiting
be
for
out of
someone.
that.
You? Who? Female descent.
No, her.
You're going with her?
Sure.
Yep. Wow. And those other two guys are
Look at
like,
these boys.
whoa. Whoa, you're going out with her? Wow. Reminds me of that Joe Jackson song. Is she really going out with him? Is she really going to take him home tonight? Well, I don't think Becky's going to take Scott home, but yeah, it's, it's confidence, trust the process.
God, I wish you'd forget about this mail order confidence stuff and just do it. Tell yourself you can do it and do it.
I can do it. I can't do it.
Oh, would you go make the phone call?
Would you go make the phone call? This is one of the reasons why it's not good for a man to be alone. Right here. You just saw it right here, right? Notice what happened, right? He comes and says, okay, no, I can do this. No, I'm not going to do it. She physically grabs him and escorts him into the phone booth. This is what women do for men, right? They actually motivate us and get us in the right direction so that we're actually, when we get in our way, they push us out of our way and then, move us forward. That's what a good woman does for a man. And one of many reasons why it is not good for a man to be alone, because when he's alone, he doesn't have this. So left to his own devices, what does he do? He doesn't become everything he's capable of becoming. So yeah, now there are benefits that men offer women as well, but I just wanted to point out in the scene here, this is one of the reasons why women are actually good for men.
Hello, Pam. This is Scott. Did you find out what weed killer you're using? Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's really good.
I call the weed killer.
Pam, there's something I want to ask you. I had braces once, too. I mean, that's something we both shared, isn't it? Oh, no. No, Becky's just a friend. Why? Oh, really? He is, huh? Well, you tell him Becky's a fine person. No, Becky broke up with Joe. After I fought him. It's a long story.
After I fought him, it's a long story.
You were at the party last night?
Yeah. Hey, remember this?
It's dorky, right? It's dorky, but it's also got that aspect of confidence to it, right? A confidence, and that's what you got to focus on getting. That's, I think, probably the most attractive trait for women in general. I mean, everyone's got their own, there's going to be differences, right? But I think if you look at women collectively, the most common attractive trait that you'll find that would be most commonly cited is confidence. I'm confident of that.
Salad bar? Remember the guy who offered to help when I spilled the clam chowder on your shoe?
Oh, him.
Hey, Becky, don't tell yourself it couldn't happen.
Oh, him. Yeah. See, that's not the expression, right? If he's a good guy, he's keeping his covenants. He wants to make more, and he's actually doing something with himself. Scott's right. Don't tell yourself that it couldn't happen. Open yourself up to the possibility.
Pam, let me tell you a little something about Becky. Hope she won't mind me saying. But you know, we both work in the drive-in. Well, when it comes to cleaning the grease trays in the grill, she doesn't do it once a month. She does it once a week. You know what I mean? And she's special. Listen,
Yeah, look at that. She's
you tell
beaming.
Mike to come down here tomorrow, and I'll put in a good word to Becky about him. And, Pam, why don't you come down with Mike, and I'll buy you a banana split at absolutely no cost to you. But only for you, okay? Not Mike. Yeah, okay.
But only for you.
Okay. Okay. See you later. Poor girl.
Now that was successful. That was successful right there, right? Again, notice how throughout the film he's building himself up, right? He starts out in one place, and then the next encounter he does a little bit better. The next encounter he does a little bit better. See, it's direction. Direction is what matters, and direction really reveals what this guy truly is. And where you're going to end up with this. You hit your rag into this guy. Where are you going to be in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? He's got a good direction charted out because he's constantly trying and putting himself out there. And even though sometimes he needs a little help from a good woman at his side, then he's got a good direction. So I think ladies, snap this guy up.
What do you mean?
Yeah, she's really falling for me.
How can you tell?
Maybe I shouldn't say anything, but on my way to work this morning, she was outside spraying for crabgrass.
Okay, so we won't go through the credits here. That's just going to be basically it for that. So, but again, classic film. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to watch it and continuously, you can find it there on the church website. Just go ahead and search for The Phone Call, and it'll pull right up, and you can watch. You can even download it, like I did. I just played the downloaded copy. I downloaded from the church website. That's how I got what you just saw here. So, bookmark it. It's great. It's a great little film, and of course, we spent almost an hour and a half with it. It's really only 20 something minutes long. So, of course, we had, all my commentary with it. I wish I had somebody else here joining me on the program. We could come talk about this stuff. So if you want to, come and participate talking about all the stuff we talk about here on the program, then, hey, go to the website, jointhejourneyradio.com. There on the contact page, fill out the contact form, send it in, and we'll see what we can get going here. Because I think, I can do what I do, but I'm just spouting off myself, and, be able to have that interplay with somebody else, or 2 or 3 or 4 or more people. I think that would be fantastic. So, if that's something that interests you, because again, everyone I've asked to date said no. So if you want to say yes, go ahead and go on. So, and normally at this point, that'd be it. But again, now we actually have had this segment, but I haven't seen any comments from anybody. So, without comments from anybody, then, but I got nothing to respond to. So then we just go ahead and end the program. But today we actually have some comments. Somebody actually commented yesterday to the episode from last week that I posted up on YouTube. So let's see if we can bring this up here. So they're actually looking at what we talked about last week. We went over President Holland's conference address. It's really good to see him again in conference. Anywho, I don't know about this. Again, I mean, one of the things that there's a couple of things here that I'm noticing that make me wonder if this is a bot and not a human being. Okay. So first of all, if you look at the name, right? So user -RJ6ED7FY4X. Who chooses that as what human being chooses that as a username? Seriously. And then the other thing that kind of makes me wonder is that look at the first message, because these messages were found back to back, right? So the first message is in all caps. And the next message, you've got, you still got capital letters, but it's not like every letter is a capital letter. You've only got like the first letter of most words is a capital letter. And I'm just kind of wondering about, what human being does that? Like types in all caps. 'Cause by this point in the stage of the internet, everyone pretty much knows that when you're typing in all caps, it's the equivalent of yelling and shouting. And so why are you? You got this all caps thing. That right there makes me wonder. Like, okay, you may be a human being, but why are you shouting this at me? And then you've got, right after you put that on, then you put in another comment that is just, and I don't even know what to make out of this comments, right? Like the first comment, shouting everything about President Holland's talk is the guide for what you wish for. I don't know how to respond to that because, first of all, I don't know what you mean by you. Are you talking about me specifically as the host of Join the Journey Radio, or are you talking about you in the more general sense that we often use the word? So I don't know what you're getting at with that. When you're again misspelling here, you're serving Christ in all things, our heart, mind, and strength, the blessings we yearn for will be fulfilled when we least expect it. That part I can talk about. I think that's sometimes true. I don't think that's always true. I don't think fulfillment of blessings comes when we least expect it. Sometimes it comes very much when we do expect it. Especially because we get in sometimes we get in these moments of it's do or die. I'm expecting my blessing. I'm expecting it now. I prepared to take this test. I got to pass this class to graduate. And, I did my part. So I'm expecting a blessing. You kind of know when it's not going to come when you least expect it. It's going to come when you expect it. Right. So that's just one example. I could give you others, but, yeah, it's not necessarily true that the blessings come and fulfilled when we least expect it. There are instances when that is true, and sometimes the blessings do come after we've just given up. I think the blessings that we look for are far more likely to come if we don't give up, if we're looking at trying to we live with faith and confidence and hope that it's actually gonna happen and take place. I think it's more likely to take place in that context than in what's being said here. Is like when we least expect it. And then right after that comment was inserted, this next comment gets inserted, thinking about being a bestest friends ... First with someone who puts God and Jesus Christ first in the morning and last at night in prayer and scripture. Again, I don't know how to respond to that because are you talking about me? Are you talking about somebody else? You're talking about a real person? Are you talking about someone that you've idealized? So I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about there. So yeah, again, this goes back to what we were saying before. We were watching the film, right? The need for explicit communication, to be very explicit. So again, user RJ6ED7FY4X. If you're a real human being, then, I hope you help us understand that you're a real human being. And you do that by, putting in some more comments and, clarifying what it is that you meant here. And then I think I'll know that you're actually a real human being. And, if we don't see it, then I guess you're probably just a bot. So yeah, we'll get that line. But even with this, like I was excited to see, okay, finally we're getting some comments. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and make comments and we'll talk about it here on the program. I have no problem with that. If you want to come on the program and talk about your comment, that might be something we can arrange. If you want to, if you're watching the live broadcast, you can make comments in the live broadcast. I don't see any comments here from the live broadcast right now, but you do have that capability, and we can actually respond to it in real time, as opposed to making this slide after the fact to look at it. But we can deal with that. So, and in fact, I want that to be like a regular feature of the program, where we actually do have that communication, the feedback, and dealing with comments. And because I think these are like really good points for discussion, and they help us to move the discussion in ways that will be most beneficial for everyone out there in the audience. So by all means, if you got comments to make, please, down below, make the comments. Or if you're watching the live broadcast, you can watch the live broadcast on the website. I think we're going to be expanding also into seeing it on social media. So I'm still learning about how to hook that up, but you be able to watch it on one of our social media channels, and then you can make comments there, I think. And again, I'm still working on putting that in, and I got to go back to these tech guys and say, hey, you told me that spotty video stuff was fixed, and it's not. So it's better than it was. I'll admit it's much better than it was, but still, it's just not good. So we'll work on that. But anyway, that's all I got this week, peeps. So hopefully that there was something here that helped you. If not, then come back next week. Maybe we'll have better luck then. So until then, this is your host reminding you, there's joy to be had all along your journey. So take that joy and journey on.